right, let's call the meeting to order. We have our quorum here today. We have all 5 members of the planning board. Item 2 is adjustments to the agenda. Anybody have any adjustments? Hearing none, we'll move on. Citizen comments is item 3. If anybody's here to make comments about something other than the applications, this would be the time. I assume everyone's here for the applications, right? Okay. Item 4, subdivision on Washington Road. So, when we wrapped up with this, we had some open items, plenty of confusion. We were starting to get to the point where we could sort of understand what we were going to approve. And we wound up tabling this because we had some open questions about wetlands, where the right of way would wind up being, and the width of the strip of land along Route 220, and how we could route a driveway through there to get access to the back lot. Sound about right?
I think that's fair.
Okay. I guess, yeah. I think what we have here in the revised or the update here is just an updated findings of facts for this one, right?
Yes.
But I didn't see that the items had been addressed yet, that we had sort of left open at the last meeting.
So,
Is that right?
yeah, just for documents that I have, I did get a letter from at least the Maine Historic Preservation Commission certifying that there's no historical sites that are going to be impacted. I got an email from Robert Green from the Maine Department of Environmental Protection saying that there were no permits necessary at this time, but when a driveway is going to be installed, then that is when they'd have to go in for a permit. So that's not an issue with the wetlands. And then the only revision I saw was the site plan that was presented in July. I think those were the big changes.
And we added the wetlands to the site plan. We did modify that easement, so rather than being a foot from the edge of 220 right away, we're 30 feet.
So you have a revised site
Yes,
plan.
that was submitted,
Fantastic.
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We addressed that right away. We added contour lines. I think we discussed that as well. We added the wetlands. I can lay out a full size copy here. So like I say, LiDAR derived contours, the wetland area, and then this easement that we had, I think, a lot of spirited discussion about it. We've shifted that back, so it terminates 30 feet from this line here,
That line being
the edge of the street right of way. So rather than there being a foot gap, we've left 30
feet.
Yeah. And that was kind of based on my reading between the lines in our discussion that seemed to be a figure that might make people feel better about that configuration. So that's how we arrived at a 30-foot figure on the north and south boundaries there.
The reason we wanted it closer originally is there's some ledge back there and the current right away. And it would just be easier to go around it and go through it.
So are you the applicants?
Yeah.
How come we didn't get this plan sent to us?
Yeah.
That plan, I believe I did, like you may have 11x17, but I thought that was
It
sent
wasn't
out.
in the package.
No.
First time seeing it.
Oh, wait a minute. No.
No, last month in July.
Oh, but
And then
not
it was canceled.
Not
And
with
then
this.
the update.
this updated one?
We didn't get that. Because
I
where would it be attached?
Did you get it?
I don't know. I came with the stuff that arrived in the mailbox most recently.
Yeah, that was, I believe this was the plan that was sent.
Is that this one?
Oh, I know I sent out, no, I know I,
Could be we're all unprepared and
It was-
you did follow through on this, but I haven't seen this before.
no, it was,
I mean, this is what we talked about, but
Yeah.
it would have been nice to see it this week.
it's, no, last in July, I think we were actually still have.
Right.
I did drop off the packets. I don't know where it went. And I did go to everyone's homes to leave them there.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh,
my packet.
and that was included in that?
That was
package?
included in the updated packets that I drove around last month.
Sorry.
It's not-
Okay, well. I guess,
Right.
Sorry.
the, the right of way, the right of way width. Am I remembering correctly that we still have an issue with the width for the driveway there?
No, so the problem was that it connected to Route 1. Or Route 220, Washington Road, whatever we're calling it.
Right.
And the problem was because it's a non-conforming lot, it took away the road frontage from it. But that's why this 30-foot gap was put in instead, so that it's not taking away that road frontage. That's how I remember that conversation going. Spirited discussion, as you said already.
So the 30 feet. Right of way across the Longfellow lot, that's where the driveway entrance would go, correct?
Well, and that assumes that they decide to build a driveway. Right? I mean,
Sure.
yes, they may, I mean, there's enough, right?
I mean, that's the whole reason we're going through this, is that, you know, eventually someone's gonna want to develop this back lot and. You know, it would be great to do this one time, so that, you know, we wind up with a buildable outcome for the back lot there.
I am curious, I mean, now that you're here in front of us, how you got yourself into this debacle to begin with? Because all of this should have been caught by either your lawyer or you when at the sale of the purchase of the property, that there was, that you didn't actually, that you did in fact own the property as opposed to it being a right of way.
What is the question exactly?
Well, I wonder how you got yourself into this debacle to begin with. Because apparently it was a misunderstanding as to what you owned, didn't own, what was a right of way and what was actually owned.
I think there, might interject, I think that was the confusion about CMP. Thinking that they owned that strip in fee, so I think your attorney thought they were separate, non-contiguous parcels. Right? And it was when I started the research on the boundary survey, discovered that CMP line was in fact an easement, so the land was contiguous.
Right.
in some way.
It was,
That I think is how we arrived here.
Yes.
I'm curious as to how that happened. Just, you know,
If I understood correctly, part of it was deeded completely over to CMP and part of it was.
Well, yes and no, not this section here, but CMP has another strip here, which they own in fee.
Right.
That adjoins this easement.
Right.
So I can understand why there may have been some confusion about that, because there are different interests that CMP has in a contiguous line there.
and a contiguous line, but completely different properties, so that. Anyone who was reading the deed for this, should realize that was only right of way, and it wasn't.
I agree with you because that's what I
Right,
found,
right,
but
right.
I mean, things
Right.
happen and in my mind, it's kind of immaterial how we arrived here, we're here and. Right, I mean, this is something that is permissible under the land use ordinance, so how we arrived here to leave it. Kind of immaterial, I mean. But that's my 2 cents.
Well, going down through the checklist from previous meeting, it seems like. Our open questions have, basically all been answered. With the additional documents that we've received. I don't know, does anybody have any
I have this
questions or questions
one
about
minor,
this?
minor question. The back lot is, here is written as 3D and the, Timberlake Taylor lot is written as 3D. Lot 3D.
Well, currently, they're one lot on the tax map, so they're both portions of 3D. I assume if this is approved, the tax assessor will call one 3D1 and 3D2 or 3D. I don't know how they'll
Okay.
renumber that, but currently they're part of the same parcel because it hasn't been approved for a split yet.
Okay. That's when that happens.
After, yeah, after they're divided.
Um. I don't have any other questions.
Can I just take
Yeah,
a?
sure. So in the rear part portion is probably largely wetlands as well?
No, actually,
No,
that's
that shows it's clear because it comes out as clear. And-
exactly, yeah. If you look at the national wetland area, front parcels all wetland, it's actually
I mean, right at the boundary line, there must be some.
more or less right at the CMP line is where they,
Huh.
you know. I think there was a copy of that map, that it was black and white, so it's difficult to read, but yeah.
Okay.
I
'Cause
mean,
I
you
thought
would
you were
agree,
gonna-
Max, that's about where that boundary was, it's basically right at the
Yeah,
CMP
that's-
line.
Yeah, that's,
Because we asked for that information and that's what came back clearly. Wetlands there and not wetlands back there. So, okay. All right.
Can I ask what your intention is to do with that land?
I'm sure, we've talked about a bunch of different stuff. Yeah.
Any other questions from board members? Okay. I guess let's run back through the checklist here.
so very quickly,
Yep.
there was in addition to the map, there was an updated checklist that I did. So we're not retreading every single item since every single item from last time was seen to almost be fine. They were just, I think, each spots that I had for updates. I don't know, this checklist was dated for July 3rd, 2024. No one got it.
No one brought it with them, apparently.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I have it with me. Do you want
Oh,
it?
you know?
Yeah, so. I can quickly just read the highlighted corrections for the board and that way we don't have to go through.
Sure.
Everything.
Let's do that.
So first was for all other local, state and federal permits, and I made one more quick update, so it's a bit different from what Barbara has. But just knowing that a DEP permit will be required when a driveway is proposed, it's not being proposed now, so DEP will need it later. Next, under 3.5.2, 4 and 5, the revision block and conditions of approval, both were included in this updated site map. Along with number 11 for that same section, 5-foot contour lines were provided. Then. Next item on the checklist gets us under this performance standards for subdivisions. Where change was made for number 3. Monuments will be a waiver. Darlene endorsed that install monuments as surveyed the Timberlake property, but I believe it didn't go to northern property. It's just following the lines that the railroad and CMP has. So that was something that was a waiver suggested last time. Number 6, subsurface wastewater disposal system. Ludwig test pit shown on the site plan, I believe. Number 10, historic archaeological wildlife habitat scenes. There are no known sites, and I have a letter from the Maine Historic Office stating there are no historic sites being harmed, and there are no wetlands indicated being harmed. And that. And then last one for preliminary plan subdivision submissions, waiver, because because usually we require a statement indicating how solid waste from the subdivision can be handled. That was asked to be waived because the use of the newly created lot is unknown at this time. So those are the only changes to the last checklist you guys had. All that's fine, then you can approve the preliminary plan. And we can go through the final plan process.
Yeah, that all makes sense to me. The final plan in here.
No, I have this. You have extra copies of the checklist?
I can make some extra copies if you like it. Still have that.
Is Pamela Jameson in our office?
One of the words.
Hmm.
Another application, conversion of the Robert Savings Bank property.
Yeah,
Good to see something happen. That or hopefully. Folks would say.
yeah,
When did they move out?
It's been a while.
about a year ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and it seemed abrupt. Just one day, time, cars and lights, and then it's nothing.
They couldn't hire enough staff is what it was.
Oh, really?
Nice to get the track of all that.
Yeah, honest.
Well, you know,
No, it's terrible. I'm amazed there hasn't been a major accident. Got across the street there, yeah.
Right, vacation?
was I away? Yeah,
Well, you've been around.
yeah, pretty much, went somewhere, but I can't think of where.
Well, I hope you fit something in for them before Labor Day.
Oh,
I know it's. I wonder why you didn't, but yeah.
construction, there's not a lot of time off in summer.
Thank you.
Nice.
This one, that's.
All right, so last time we were here, we tabled this. So we have to go through the preliminary approval and vote on that and then do the final or no?
Nope, I ran through the changes, so everything else is the same. You can approve the preliminary and then we just need to run through the final plan if that's what the board would like to do today. But I did send out notices to the abutters as well as putting the ads in the paper again, just so that if you do want to do the final plan, we have it.
So we don't need to approve the preliminary, or the final?
You should do just a quick motion on.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right. I'll move to, accept the preliminary plan submission as noted with the, solid waste waiver. As noted. Second,
I second it.
discussion?
There was another waiver though.
Yeah,
The monuments.
yeah, monuments and the solid waste.
Heard you say the solid waste.
I didn't see yeah,
In the historic letter,
where is that? It's 12.6.
Let's. 12.8.3
Oh,
and
I was thinking 12.6.2.
and 12.8.10 of that. So with those three waivers.
For stormwater and erosion control. And then the buffer areas. And the monuments, right? Okay. Should I make this motion again since I screwed it up the first time?
Sure.
All right, so. Move to accept the preliminary application with the waivers for the stormwater erosion control plan. The buffer areas in Article 7. And. The monuments in 12.8.3. And then the solid waste in 12.6.2.1.7.
Second,
Second.
John made the second.
Discussion. All in favor? Vote is 5-0, so let's move on to the final. Item 1 says receipt from the town indicating application fees been paid. Planner has confirmed this. As well as item 2, final application form and all attachments and maps. Item 3, all the submission materials for the preliminary plan, already discussed. All the conditions of modifications by the planning board for the preliminary plan are on the final plan. They're in the documents. That's fine. All the waivers shown are on the final plan. Additional studies on materials required by the board. If you have any. We have our signature blocks. 7. Performance guarantee. No performance guarantee has been requested at the pre-application meeting. There's no construction happening. Item 9 is the location and type of all permanent markers at all lot corners. This is again going to be a waiver. I believe. Subdivision does not contain any private roads. Item 11, written copies of the documents of land dedication. Written evidence that the board of selectmen is satisfied with the legal sufficiency of any documents. No land dedication proposed. Any conditions on the final plan placed by the planning board should be clearly listed. I don't think we have any conditions, this at all.
Conditions for the additional blocks, but those have been addressed, so it's.
Right. And then the last thing is appropriate documentation from DEP or other state or federal agencies about disturbances to water bodies. No disturbances of water bodies are proposed. I'll move to accept this as noted with the waiver for the monuments. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor? So, 4-1, you opposed to
I'm
this?
opposed. I don't think, I'm opposing it because I don't think that you do your due diligence to begin with. You had one of your purchases of your property come up before us. Well, maybe hadn't done their due diligence too, and because they didn't understand what they had bought fully. Because they didn't understand that there was a right of way going to their property. And I don't know where somebody's failed here in communication, but that kind of led me to feel that I have doubt as to whether what you're gonna be doing in the future is gonna live up to the standards of ethical standards that, you know, that we hope to instill and have in some division of this town. So I'm opposed to it for that reason. I hope that that's not true. I mean, I'm gonna oppose it, but you know, hopefully you'll do better in trying to understand what it is you have here, what you're selling, and who you're selling it to. So, I mean, I accept the fact that obviously I've been over the rules here, and you're gonna get what you want. But I do think you need to pay a little more attention to as to how you get it.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
You need it signed now, next week, reference.
You can swing by and pick them up anytime, so.
Okay.
Like, you don't need, I don't need to take the signed copy tonight. If you want to move on to the next item, sign it at the end or next week.
Yeah,
We've got 90 days to record, correct?
Correct.
So, once we get it all within that period.
all right.
Great.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you all for your time.
Sure.
Just very quickly before the next item, I've warned everyone that the painting stripe is gonna happen. Is there anyone who's not parked on the side or on grass?
Oh, I'm parking front.
Yep, if you just park on the side of the road.
There's the guy there. He didn't tell me anything. Okay.
All that information about the language on there.
I don't know how it is they were made aware of that. By their lawyer, it's just like your lawyer didn't make you aware of the fact that you actually own the property, wasn't an easement, you know, so it didn't. I don't know, I understand, I mean, why there wasn't a lot of more, there wasn't more a deeper understanding of what all these transactions meant and how they affected people. So, I mean, yeah, it's okay. I mean, I hope that it works out in the end, but I mean, it did kind of create a mess. It took us like several meetings to figure out and understand what the mess was and how it could be resolved. So. Good luck with it.
I find, Max will tell you, I find a way to find these much better. You get message.
I was gonna say, please keep it off the table for at least the rest of the year. Now that
All right,
we got
fair
the main
enough.
health application, I would like this to be the main health to be the next focus. Next night.
All right, well, thanks again. Appreciate your time and feedback on your.
Emails, follow up.
All right, thank you.
Subdivision society.
Love subdivisions.
Lots of subdivisions. Those so fun.
So what's next?
All right. 1341 Atlantic Highway. I assume this is you?
It's,
Great.
my engineers actually, Chris, can you hear me?
Again,
All right, I guess one of us made the trek up here. You saved me some money though. I appreciate it.
yeah, I gave you the Zoom link. What happened?
So Chris is gonna present and I was just here for any questions.
Sure. Great. Chris, I guess take it away, introduce us to your projects.
Okay, sure. For the record, my name is Chris York with Greenman Peterson. I can bring up the point. I might as well introduce Greg Nolan as well from JFJ Holdings. He's the applicant and owner of the property. And yeah, so bring up the screen just to share the. There we go. Everyone can see that?
I'll try and blow it up.
Then. Great.
All right. That's
Good.
Yeah, carry on.
Okay. So this is the existing Rockland Savings Bank building currently out there now. It's an existing 2,943 square foot building. So we are converting it to a new Dunkin' Donuts, which is going to take up about 2/3 of the building, about 1,979 square feet. We originally got this approved administratively, excuse me. But once the architectural plans came in, the couple of the additions to the building we went above the 10% of the building addition, so that triggered site plan approval. So that's why we are here. The site itself isn't changing a whole lot. The building is going to stay the same. Right now, there's a. Let me step back 1 second. So the existing building has an existing canopy out back that's going to be removed. There's an existing canopy on the side of the building that will be removed. And now there's existing one vestibule out front. So we are now proposing 2 separate vestibules, one for the Dunkin' Donuts site and one for a future tenant space. We also have a 4-foot bump out for the drive-through window, as well as the walk-in freezer out back. So that those changes itself kind of triggered the greater than 10% of the building addition requirement. So other than that, the building's not changing. The site itself isn't really changing at all. You know, the limits of the pavement is not changing at all. We're not adding or removing any spaces. We're keeping all the spaces as shown. We will be adding some striping to allow for the drive-through lane. 12 stacked cars can fit in there. There'll be a access lane around the perimeter of the site as well. We're keeping both entrances as they currently stand. Like I said, all the parking spaces are remaining. We have met with DOT. We met with DOT last week up there at Town Hall. And now DOT is currently reviewing the final set of plans. So that is in their hands at the moment. So other than that, we're adding a dumpster. Want to add that point out. Add some silt fence around the perimeter of the site. Right now, there's an existing drainage swale along the back of the site that is going to remain. We are not touching that at all. But the silt fence will protect that from any construction that's ongoing. So other than that, I think I touched on everything that's of importance here. I can pass it back to you for any questions you may have.
I got a couple questions. So does the Dunkin' Donuts, so these are individual franchises?
That's correct.
So can the major big Dunkin' Donut corporation tell you how they want, like say, the facade of your building to be? Or is that up to your design?
They have design criteria, but it comes down to, different towns and municipalities. Some
Right.
have an appetite, they want it to look like a colonial
Right.
house. Other ones in Boston proper, where I'm from, it could be really honky tonk if you want it to be, or just,
Right.
So we were gonna keep the building pretty much the way that it is, outside of some dates and those type of things.
Okay, so you.
Yes, I just brought up the architectural plan for you to see.
Thanks, Chris.
Are you the current owner of the current Dunkin' Donuts in town?
Yes.
You are.
Yes.
You own that property itself? No, you lease,
It wouldn't look like that if I owned it.
yeah, it's kind of
Ah.
interesting.
It's built like a floor, yeah. Yep.
And
I'll go to spell.
Oh, that must be the- It's gonna be paid.
it's gonna clean the stripes.
You have no idea what's gonna happen about it.
Excuse me?
It's sort of a interesting spot. It's right there.
I think the real estate's good, it's just the building sort of built like a floor.
Can you both speak up a bit?
Yeah, now that you're getting, the people outside, I think it'll be hard, a little hard to do the hearing. Yeah.
I have a question. Are you gonna modify the existing sign that's out in front for your signage? You're gonna keep the monument, the such as,
We have the sign rendering.
there's
So-
one there now.
Use the existing.
Yeah.
We'll change up the face.
That's what I was wondering.
Yep, yep. Just gonna reface the sign, remain on the same spot.
And but for the second business, will that also have some bit signage there as well? The second
Yeah.
business
Yes.
in the same area? Yeah. We don't really have much to do with the sign stuff, but it is kind of interesting to see and I was just wondering if we're gonna add like 2 more signs along Route 1 or just keep the one. It's nice to have all that green for a change on Route 1. It's what it,
Yeah,
so-
no, I like it too, it looks good.
Yeah.
We would reuse the monument. You know, the tenant, it's just, the building's too big for a Dunkin' today. Years ago, it used to be 3,000 square foot. Today, you know, the standard size is about 1,800 square feet, so. We're like, wow, we don't need all the space, so maybe we'll create I didn't realize it would trigger anything. A tenant space, some kind of soft retail, maybe tax off, I don't know, we just figured the building was too big for Dunkin' only. So we figured we, you know,
Yep.
create maybe a soft retail or let's say
Nice.
professional person.
And there's already a Dunkin' Donuts in town, right?
it's his.
Oh, that's yours
Yeah.
too.
He's moving.
Yeah,
You're gonna move from the gas station.
correct.
I see. I was gonna ask you if there's any ordinance of how many Dunkin' Donuts you can have in a town.
Boston will show
I
you.
mean, I
that
don't-
You
I
can
see-
have, you can have 3 Dunkin' Donuts on each
Is
corner.
that
of it
true?
or something.
Lion told you and you can hit like a log wedge, you can hit one, you know, it's crazy.
Okay.
Is this your only franchise?
No,
You own other Dunkin' Donuts? In what, in Maine,
yes,
locally?
Rockland. Quite a few in Maine. That's the closest, you know, besides one across the street, which we're gonna relocate in Rockland, will be the next nearest. Closest one.
And I'm sorry, you're purchasing this building, right? You're not leasing it.
The existing location, we're leasing it. We
Right.
already own the building now. In the rights to the franchise.
In the new one, the one you're proposing. That
Correct.
one. You own the building and the rest.
Yes, we closed on it July 31st.
How many square feet is the tenant? You said, but I can't remember the tenant space.
Is it like 1,000 square feet thereabouts?
Yeah, it's about 820 square feet or so, plus or minus.
And so you'll have some seating in there.
In the Dunkin' space, yes. Yes.
Yeah, we're proposing, I think, 16 seats.
Again, with the business, it's kind of changed. Years ago, you'd have 30, 35 seats. Now it's more fewer seats,
there
more
for-
ordering and drive-through.
Yeah.
I am curious, I mean, who would want to be next door to Dunkin' Donuts? Not that there's anything wrong with Dunkin' Donuts, but I mean, it's kind of an odd pairing. I don't know who would. be there, but that doesn't make you break the deal to you, right?
No, we,
Can sit empty for the next 10
Well,
years.
yeah, I control the space so I can be selective who I put in there, obviously I would put a competing use in there. But we got a lot of 2, 3 bay buildings. With tenants and it's, can be one-stop shopping, but usually it's a complimentary use, it doesn't compete. with Dunkin', particularly around our hours of operation and peak hours.
I remember seeing Baskin Robbins with Dunkin' Donuts. Is that still a thing?
Not for me, it's not.
No.
That's like a swear word, yeah, that's.
No, sorry.
Around here, that's all right, yeah, no.
Pretty convenient site, huh? Probably haven't had such an easy
It's
site to.
terrific, yeah, it's a great spot. It's a great spot.
So how can we fish fast track this? It's kind of a no brainer, right?
Yeah,
Agreed.
kind of what was said from the beginning. Mark and I already approved this. We initially were told that there was gonna be no change to the exterior, so it's gonna be a change of use. It was a pretty cut and dry item. In fact, most of the checklist items, findings and facts, it's all stuff Mark and I already went through pretty much. It's just the expansions that ended up happening that triggered this. So,
Well, since you guys already went through it, can you explain the parking to me? And how we've arrived at the number of parking spaces that are required?
Oh,
Sure. Yeah, so we've got currently, I can zoom up to the table. Oop, wrong side. So there's currently 21 spaces on site. Based on the zoning regs, it's one for every 2 seats. So we have 16 seats. So we technically only need 8 spaces for the Dunkin' Donuts. And then for the next door, we were just assuming at the moment retail, which is 4 per 1,000. So that's another 5 spaces. If it ends up being another smaller restaurant, it would be based on seats. It would be a small number of seats in that, potential restaurants. It would be another similar, small size of spaces. So we're required to have 13. We have 21.
You get 2,000 square feet and only 16 seats.
Yeah, it's odd, I know, it's just the nature of the business today. It's more mobile ordering and drive-through. Years ago, we'd have 25, 35 seats. People. It's like hit and run.
What are you doing with the rest of the space? I mean, it's not all kitchen, is it?
selling cups.
It's,
Yeah, I can show you what the plan. See if I can find the right floor plan here. God, give me a second to. Maybe this one will work.
Hopefully this application
all
did get to
kitchen.
everyone.
Oh, well, there's no floor plan in it.
It's just
There's just
elevation.
elevation.
well, there's the floor plan there, so,
Yeah, so it really is all kitchen space, basically.
yeah, storage.
Yeah.
Seating over here, seating over here.
Okay.
Seating in a lobby.
Now, do you make the donuts that get shipped to other locations?
No,
It's not that kind of,
that's inside baseball secret, but, we used to years ago, but, no, it comes from a central kitchen.
so it's just what you're selling locally is.
Yeah, we don't bake on site.
You don't
anymore.
bake on site?
No, no.
Okay.
Here's a little better picture of what it look like on the inside.
Right,
Prep kitchen area, the service area behind the counter, and office area,
the restrooms here.
restrooms.
Frontline going case, POS.
Oh, it sure looks like you cook.
That line.
It's amazing. Huh. And that's an office? Is there an office there on the left? No,
Yes.
that's the drive-through window.
Office is here.
Yes.
Another question I had was about the lighting. You didn't provide any information on the lighting. I don't see them on the site plan. There's a note here that says using current lights. There's definitely some additional lighting that you're planning on putting out there. Because you show it on your elevations.
Chris, are we proposing additional, pole lighting?
We are not. So there's pole lighting. So there's one. Yeah, let me highlight them on here for you so you can see them. There's a light here. There's a pole here. There's a pole here. There's a pole here. There's one here. And there, yep, and 2 more. So there's already 8 poles on the site for pole lighting. So there's more than sufficient, they're more than sufficient lighting already on site. You know, in terms of pole lighting.
Are they full cutoff luminaires?
I believe they are, yes, I could check, but they were, you know, the site isn't too old, so I would imagine when
Sure.
it's constructed originally, it had to meet all of those dark sky compliant downward facing lights.
Quick question. What are the hours of operation gonna be?
I'm not sure what we propose. Typically, it's 5 to 11, and then if we have to curtail the hours, like there's no business at 5, we open at 6. So if we can't find anybody to work, we close at 9.
Okay.
You know,
We close at 11 a.m. or p.m.?
11 p.m.
That's what I thought.
Those are the window of hours, but they have stores that close at 6. They can't find people. It's tough.
And do those perimeter lights, are they do they shut off in the,
They'll be
are
on-
they on all the time?
No, they'll be on a timer. If they're not already, I'll put them on a timer. We adjust it for daylight savings when that time comes.
So otherwise you've got building lights down lit at the entrances. Is that the other lights you have?
There's wall packs at least shown on the elevations.
More decorated. There's no spillage. They don't really do a lot of light.
So all the pole lights are down facing. I just looked on our site photos and on Google Maps. But
Let's see, going down the list here. Stormwater management, you've asked for a waiver on that because you're using the existing stormwater controls, which makes sense to me. You do
Yeah.
need to have an erosion control plan for this. You are doing construction out there. There's catch basins in the street that needs to get protected. You know,
yeah,
all that stuff needs to be in the erosion control plan.
yeah.
Uh,
So we
you
do
also-
have sediment control around the perimeter of the site. I did see this, I think that's a catch basin there. We can add that to the plan as well. One of those silt sacks.
Yeah,
those are
exactly.
typical. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the only way you can protect those. They're out in the highway. One of them's right in the middle of one of your entrances.
Yep. That
Uh,
might be the only one, but I'll double check. There's one more down the street. I can add them to both of those.
You need to have your spill protection plan in there as well. Those things drain right into the river. So spill control is obviously very important for, you aren't doing a lot of construction, but you're gonna have hydraulics on that site. So-
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, the river is extremely vital to a lot of people in this town, and every bit of pollution that we can stop is important. So there's also waivers requested for groundwater impacts and water quality impacts, and the notes here just say it's gonna be on municipal water and sewer. At first I was a little concerned you're putting in a restaurant here where there's a bank before. It's gonna be a lot more sewer use. You only have 16 seats. I didn't see on here, I can see what looks like a sanitary sewer line, but I can't see a connection to the building. I assume this is at least like a 6-inch sewer connection for this building.
Chris, do you know what that is?
Off the top of my head, I do not. I would assume it's a 6-inch pipe. They generally are. I can double check that with the town. But generally they're 6 inches.
Yeah. Soils, there's a waiver requested here. The note says using developed area with no new construction. I always forget what 8.6 soils is. Is this the one that's asking if there's
This wants to make sure,
severe soils?
this wants to make sure that the soils are good to build on.
Right, okay. I don't think we have any issues there, and the waiver seems reasonable to me. Next waiver is for 8.8. Aesthetic, natural, and cultural values. The note here says in Route 1B, no construction. Phase. We've obviously just talked about the construction, but you know, it is in the Route 1B zone, which is where we want to see this. Let's see, next waiver is for buffer requirements for water quality protection. So this building, when was this building built?
Built?
Like, was it built before our land use ordinance was in place?
Let me-
it's mint inside, I feel like it's relative.
I can run back and check the text.
Okay.
I'm really impressed with the condition of the building, it's.
It seems fairly
We
good.
assume, yes, like relatively good.
I feel like it was in the early 2000s, but I don't know the exact date.
Yeah, that's when our land use ordinance came to be as well. They're right about the same time. Assuming that we had all these rules in place, like your old buffers. I'm sure we haven't changed the rules about the buffers. Just want to make sure that we don't need to look at that any closer.
But the buffers are great.
There isn't much of a screen between the Dollar General and the bank, but the other three sides of it are very well screened.
Dollar General had to plant on their side when they built that. That was approved.
There's not much in there except for basically the smattering of pine trees in
You know,
there.
I wonder if we lost, that they lost it in the plants.
Maybe. They didn't seem to be in much of a pattern. All right, so 9.1 traffic impact analysis. I think this is the first application we've had where we actually need to have this. We almost always give a waiver on this because we don't do a lot of businesses in town where we have this much traffic coming through there, so.
But is it DOT's job to ascertain what's appropriate for the spot in Route 1?
Yeah, definitely. But we have a requirement here for having an impact analysis as part of our approval, assuming that there's more than 50 vehicles or 100 trips during the peak hours. And the note here says document provided by Greenman Peterson anticipates 113 to 255 hours. And so it says we're supposed to have an impact analysis based on this book here, Trip Generation 7th edition, published in 2003.
Yeah, and first, a quick thing on when the building was built. It was approved, the bank was approved in 2005, following most of the same standards we actually have to this day.
Yep.
And it was built in 2006.
Fantastic.
So the buffering of water was approved, and I can find out exact minute in a minute, but you're on the traffic impact analysis. And I wasn't at the meeting when they were talking about this with DOT, but Chris, is that still going on or was that finished? I got the preliminary one, but Mark told me, and Mark is on here as well. So
Yep,
isn't there, so there is a traffic impact analysis going on, correct?
Yep, so we submitted the original one that DOT has, and then based on the architectural plans we received, we need to update it slightly just to incorporate the new, the smaller Dunkin' Donut size and the new future tenant. It won't change much. It's so it's in DOT's hands. They're reviewing it. They probably, it takes them about 4 to 6 weeks to submit their comments back to us and to the town.
Is there a turning lane in that section you want?
No. There is a shoulder.
There is not that may be something that DOT requires here. We're not, we'll find out
I had,
soon, but they seem to indicate that may be quite possible. A turning lane would be needed.
I mean, the only thing that makes Route 1 work in that Thomaston Rockland section is the fact that you have that turning lane. Otherwise, it's a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. And right where that is, I mean, the people wanting to turn in going north and south of the Dunkin' Donuts. So it's
If I can just interject, at the meeting, there was talk from DOT that there were going to be 2 turning lanes. One coming southbound to turn into Dunkin' Donuts and another one in the northbound to turn off from Route 1. So that was the preliminary. Nothing is, steadfast yet, but that's what they were looking at.
How is that decision made? I mean, that,
It's made through DOT and the traffic analysis study.
that's being done? That's
Yeah.
happening.
Yes, it's in the works right now.
So it's highly likely that they'll actually end up putting in a turning lane in that section of Route 1.
I wouldn't. I
If
wasn't.
DOT finds that goes along with the traffic analysis study, then that's what they will order as part of their plan.
DOT pays for it?
I can't speak to that on who would be responsible for that.
It'll be the applicant.
I would think it would be the applicant, yes.
And that's part of your business plan?
Well, I mean, if it's required, yeah. I already own the building. I've done it before.
Right.
Prefer not to. You've got an existing business, we're just moving across the street, but they get to make the choice, and if that's the case, then I'm on the hook for it.
But the thing about Dunkin' Donuts is just everyone wants to stop there. Going north and south, so that it's gonna be this huge fiasco of people trying to cross over that lane. Holding up traffic behind them, that's sort of a nightmare.
It's gonna be better than it was with that existing location. It'll be an improvement over what we've been all learned to live with.
Yeah, I'll transition this to the one public comment I've heard on this application, and that is from an abutter, Rick Erickson, who owns the property where Tucker Chevrolet is. He, first of all, wanted to make sure it is the Dunkin' Donuts moving in, and secondly, this should help with the traffic.
But that is at the stoplight, and it's also the existing is at the stoplight, which helps. People are going slower to begin with. And it's not on a hill. I mean, I think you're way up on the hill there, so there's a lot of problematic.
So could we
I
just
mean,
accept
I hate to
the
put that on you, because that seems to be
plan?
If that's
unfair.
what the DOT requires,
but-
Well,
yeah.
we need to have a document when it gets finished as part of this. I mean, as long as it's done. We can approve it. That's, yeah, it doesn't say that we have to. Impose some kind of value judgment on it at all. It just needs to have work completed. Prior to the approval. Right.
It does not have to be completed prior to the approval, so we said.
No, we need it prior to the approval.
We do.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
according to 9.1.1. So the note here on the checklist says that the document's been provided, but it was not included in the packet.
No,
So
I have,
it's still in the works, it sounds like.
yeah, I have the preliminary one.
Okay.
That's what I have for traffic.
We do all of our part, just subject to the DOT completing their part. And it's accepting,
Just gonna ask that question.
yeah, and that's accepting their findings. We have no,
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's just conditions. We need to go through the whole rigmarole here and everything, and we'll probably find some other things that need to get changed, but there's nothing that's there's a showstopper in here that I can see. Anybody disagree?
I agree.
Oh, are the logo things on the building, are they lit, backlit, or those, I mean, is that part of your signage overall? You got 2 locations with coffee cups?
Chris, do you know if they're internally illuminated or they're?
Talk about these little
Yeah,
Those little doodads.
that is, I will try and find that answer. To
Well,
LED.
That'd be part of your total signage allowance, right? And would they be on timers? I'm just thinking about what's glowing down there when you're passing
Yes.
by at
yeah,
11 or 12.
they would be, yep. 100%.
That's,
I'm giving you guys this, so the whole sign.
but it-
Chris, when you look at that building there, how much of it, can you get the straight on, the front on one? The first one,
Chris, can you
Sure.
get the front elevation, please?
Yeah.
so that's the is Dunkin' Donuts gonna be the whole building or is the half
Could
gonna
be
be
this,
someone?
it'll be this half.
How can it be this out?
Yes,
Then the tenant space will be here.
and that's gonna go, you don't know who or what or,
Yeah,
there's
soft
no-
retail, maybe, like a professional, like a, you know, a tax office or,
okay.
Not a passing,
pardon me?
not a passing copy.
Okay.
No. They could give me the franchise, I wouldn't do a basketball.
So to answer your question previously, it looks like
Go in that.
the,
part is
I
in-
don't think I don't think this little symbol is lit up, but there is a little LED light above the drive-through window.
Downcasting for
Yeah.
safety reasons, that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, can we follow ahead?
Yeah, as well. All right, so starting at the top, are there any conflicts of interest? Anybody have any? Does the applicant have standing? I believe that is the case. He's purchased the building. Is this purchase complete? You said a couple times that you own it. I see the
Yeah.
signed documents. Yeah,
Closed on July 31st.
Right, yeah, and I did receive an update from Chris. I think you sent me a letter showing there was proof of purchase.
Yes, let me double check. Yes, I did send you the purchase and sales a while ago. I can send you the copy of the deed if you'd like that as well.
Yes.
Sure.
Yep. All right. Item 3 is the application complete. We're about to find out. Item 4, approve, reject. We'll vote at the end. So section 3.5.1. Application has been accepted by the town office. It's submitted on town office forms. Applicant information is on the cover. Property location and details are already discussed and on the plan. Fees, verification of ownership, we just discussed, fees paid. It says obtained by town, so that means fees are paid.
They paid.
Estimated cost of construction. I have a question on this one. Someone who has done a lot of construction. I'm curious about your $32,000 cost of the project. I wonder if you could explain what portion of the project is the $32,000.
I'm a licensed GC, I'll be using my guys, I'm not sure what that item is, it's gonna be a lot more than 32,000.
Well, that's-
Renovations.
That's what I thought as well. So
I think we were just including site improvements, nothing to do with any building
Okay,
improvements.
so when I file for a building permit application, I'll submit a contract and it'll be more than.
Yeah.
No, I wish it was 32,000.
Yeah.
Everyone.
That was what I wanted to hear. Okay. Description of projects, Dunkin' Donuts. Start and completion dates, anticipating starting this fall and finishing in the winter. All other state, local and federal permits. Note says you need a DOT permit and building permit. Makes sense to me. Site maps are provided, estimated water and sewage. There was an estimated water and sewage number in here. Somewhere. So you had noted in here, the estimated sewer use is gonna be 380 gallons per day, and estimated water will be 400 gallons per day. Is this based on your usage at the other location?
Yeah, yes, and particularly with the sewer, people come into the buildings. And most of the water goes out the door and it comes. You know what I mean, so.
Got it.
Yeah, that's based on. Existing stores that are similar to this. And I whacked it up a little bit because the gas station across the street is a little downtrodden, so just a better location in Rockland. So I beefed those numbers up just to be safe.
Okay. Evidence site can connect to sewer, it's already connected, traffic impacts, that's, it's gonna be a condition. Traffic analysis. Item 16, other information, note just says additional lease space is not determined, there'll be a separate approval for that. 3.5.2, title block, you have a title block. Names of the engineers are on here. Conditions of approval. There. Drawings are attached. Oh, revision block, there's a revision block, so that's all there. So we have the same condition for 3.5.2.7 for the traffic impact analysis. We have a site map done by a professional engineer. We need a condition on item 9 for the ESC plan. Only. Technical and financial capacity. This is one that we never much deal with, because most of the time people are building stuff on their own property. It doesn't really affect anybody else. I'd really love to see this not fail. I would like to see some kind of a statement that satisfies our requirement here for a statement of technical.
Our account or a bank, I mean, we're the largest Dunkin' Donuts franchisee in the system, brick and mortar. Have over 250 locations all over New England, about 50 in Maine, Florida, Pennsylvania, New York.
Fantastic.
So where is your bakery?
But I can get a letter from our accountant to say, you know, X, Y, Z.
That'd be fantastic.
To have the financial wherewithal to pull it up. I wouldn't bought the property. I was resigned to the fact that the DOT is gonna have us do something as well, but.
I understand.
Yep.
Yep. I just, we have a duty to make sure you're not gonna fall through and leave the place vacant for 10, 20 years.
I think the right way. You're right.
Yep. Contour lines on the map. Says there's contours here.
Yeah, it was very, like it was the edge, like.
I can't see them on this print.
It's very, very light.
It is also very flat, so you might not see too many of them.
Yeah, it was very light. Look,
Yeah, I will double check. I'll make sure those are on the final set of plans.
yeah, it looks like they were closer to the actual road where I could actually see any many of them.
It's very flat.
Or at least it was, or at least it was heat. Yeah, it was very light.
Yeah, if you could revise that in the final of this, that'd be great.
Yeah, definitely.
The requirement is 10-foot minimum contours, I believe.
Yeah, we got either 1 or 2 foot contours. I forget, but we'll get those on the plan.
Fantastic. Item 12, fire protection provisions. It says lockbox is required. We need one for each of the entrances. Okay.
So it have to be like a Knox box or.
Yeah, we put you in contact with the fire chief and he'll give you the form and everything.
Okay. Article 7, buffer areas. Note here says no change in vegetation. Current parking is outside of the 15-foot buffer. The buffers are great on the auto parts store side and on the back of the lot. It's not great between the two lots.
Is it any of the 2 commercial sites and non-residential? Is it?
Yeah.
Significant.
Hey, Brandon,
Yeah.
I gotta go, but I just wanna register that I go with this project when it comes up, so.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
This one is largely up to our discretion. You know, there are plants there. It's thin, it's between two parking lots and two retail businesses. I'm looking at you because you're the one who usually is all about this. Okay.
It's fine.
Anything in the construction standard, is there anything nasty in there, mold,
No,
anything?
it was meant, I did a walkthrough before we bought it, it was, you know, before we bought it, Apple's places were mint inside. No leaks, no nothing. Real good. I mean, the building's newer, but they took very good care of it, it was in tremendous shape. I was really, I was surprised, we're happy with that.
Okay, so 7.2 construction standards. It's just asking you to meet building code, of course, electrical standards. I don't think you're gonna be causing any electromagnetic radiation off-site with Dunkin' Donuts. You're not in the historic village districts. Net developable acreage, this says no net gain in impervious surface. Seems like, you know, whatever changes are being made are very negligible on that front. Lighting, we just discussed. Is there no seventh? Oh, there it is. Noise. I can't anticipate us having any complaints here. The only noise that you're actually gonna be producing that isn't vehicles is basically just exhaust fans, right? You're not gonna have a generator on this site, right? Okay. All right. 7.7 lighting using current lights. We just discussed the lights. When you specify the wall packs, I believe that our land use ordinance does require those to be full cut off. Keep the light pollution down.
Yep.
Refuse disposal, you've got your plan for the dumpster in the back corner of the area.
You guys just throw out old donuts and stuff like that, that could be, the animals could get into or anything?
We do, but it's, yeah, the dumpster corral, it's fenced in, it's gated,
So
still
no,
lets you down. You know, we have stores, you know, some more rural areas, and we'll actually lock the side, so like bears can't get in, but I don't know if you have bears around here.
okay, good, thank you.
You know, maybe you do that at night, but besides that, and it pickups pretty, frequently. We did pick up pretty frequently, so it's not lingering there very often. Hopefully, if I'm running good controls, I'm not throwing away a ton of stuff.
Right,
All right, 7.9 sanitary provisions, you're on the town sewer and water in that location. 7.10 signs, using the existing sign location, and you're planning to have the signs on the building. I'm not gonna pay too much attention to that because you got a separate sign permit application for that. Storage of materials. There's something in here about food safety. Isn't this about construction material? 7.11, materials stored outdoors. I guess it's about anything. Yeah, okay. I assume you're not storing any food outdoors. Emergency services, the note here just says lockbox needs to be installed if not already there. That was historic sites, not applicable, already developed. Presume that we already went through this the first time around when the site first got built, so that's, yeah. All right, and then we pretty much already talked about Article 8. Because you're asking for a waiver on almost all of it. Air and water pollution on 8.7. Can't imagine any of your operations there are gonna trigger any of the things here in our air and water pollution clause about creating dust, ash, smoke. So you got a real problem in the kitchen. All All right, so 7.9 flood zone, the note says not in floodplain. We have a map, we need a flood zone map in the application for that, I assume.
I usually check on, the FEMA flood, the FEMA online map system, and if it's not, if no part of the parcel is touching it, I usually don't include it in the map.
Okay. Yeah, I can't imagine that there's a flood issue up there. River, stream, brook, and wetlands. So the site map doesn't show the entire, or does it show the entire lot? It does show the entire.
It does, yep, yep.
So, note here says not on property. I think that's pretty evident. I drove through it today. Makes sense to me. Buffer requirements. Oh, wait, here, talk about it. What's left? Article 9. So traffic impact analysis, that's gonna be a condition of approval. Spell condition. 9.2, sounds like you're having ongoing conversations with DOT about what those entrances are gonna look like.
Correct, yep.
So our 9.2 requirement here is to, we have to have that permit from the DOT before we approve this.
No, that would just be a condition that all this is obtained.
It's just a condition, right, that it gets obtained. Okay, so we need a condition on 9.2. And then parking in 9.3, we already talked about. I don't think we have any issues with parking.
I just have a minor one. Chris, did you say 21 parking spaces? I thought there were 20.
20,
21?
21, yep.
The leading one for the dumpster.
Yeah.
Isn't that what the narrative said?
I thought I was confused.
You know what? If the narrative said that, that is incorrect. We looked at possibly putting the dumpster in this back corner, but we were able to fit it right here. So we are not eliminating any spaces.
Yeah.
So what am I looking at? Is that like a concrete apron in front of the dumpster
Yes, that's
enclosure?
correct.
Okay, so that's
Yep.
gonna be a mountable thing
Yeah.
you can drive
Yeah,
over.
yeah. So cars can drive over it, and then it's fenced in concrete pad.
Okay, well, I think we can, unless there's any other discussion from the board, I think we can make a motion to approve this. With a bunch of conditions.
Yeah, just with I can just read off the quick run through of the conditions.
Sure.
The need for an updated traffic impact analysis. Erosion control updates. Sill protection, new drainage, and for spill protection. There also needs to be a statement from the accountant of the applicant showing technical and financial capacity. The signed site map needs to include contour elevations that are more easily visible. Lockbox will need to be installed. Main Department of Transportation permit should be acquired before facility is open for operation. And then I was just confused. I wanted to make sure. Is there any condition regarding the lighting or the sewer connection? Those were some.
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's any real issues there.
Then
And then we've got the waivers as well, right?
yes. I have 3.5.1.14 for the HH 200 form. It's not needed because it's on sewer. And then Article 8, items 8.1, 8.3, 8.4, 8.5, 8.6, 8.8, and 8.11.
Okay. I'll move to accept the application with the waivers and conditions as noted. Is there a second? Any other discussion? All those in favor? Vote is 4-0. I don't think Eric can vote in absentia, can he?
I don't think he can, but it's more of a. He had no problems
Yeah,
with this, if
yeah.
anyone was wondering what Derek think.
I have a question. It's come up a couple times. But does he really have to come back, when the second business is identified? Why
So-
would he have to come back?
So what'll happen, so that approval is meant for just the Dunkin' Donuts that moves in, whatever moves into it. If it's a change of use where nothing's happening to the exterior, Mark and I will be looking at it. It's just saying that whoever moves into that space still needs to come to town. It could be Mark approving it, it could be Mark and I approving it. They want to build out the building with your blessing, it might come back to the planning board.
I mean, it depends on
What's
what's
actually
approving
going in.
authority in the matrix, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. It's just saying they're coming back.
So it's probably a Mark, you and Mark thing,
It might be me and Mark.
really straight.
I mean, it depends, you know, like it's in Route 1B, like any of these
Yeah.
uses that are PV here.
Look. Right, unless they don't change the exterior, because then there's that clause for a change of use going to Mark and I. And we can chat about that.
All right.
All right.
I still, your bakery is, what town is it in?
I'm trying to remember which bakery delivers to this area. We have one in Rockland, but I'm trying to,
So
I'll
it's,
let Max know.
so
and
it's
he'll get-
not too far away.
It's not too far away.
Okay.
And
Not-
the deliveries are a controlled environment, so it's heated and air conditioned. I'd be lying if I said it's not like the days when I was growing up as a kid and they were baking in the back of the house.
Yeah.
I know what that's like. It's
Yeah, yeah.
Quick question. How come you guys don't have chocolate cream filled donuts
I
anymore?
wish.
That is my favorite donut. I've been getting those for 60 years. What is it? Somebody explained it to me and I didn't quite get it.
No, it's where they come from a central kitchen. It's usually a cooperative kitchen
Yeah,
and just the different flavors, different shells.
yeah,
To switch out the hoppers.
right.
They just determine, but I'm with you, like I like French
Yeah.
coronas.
Yeah.
And they don't have them, or like the old crawlers, or the
Yeah.
twisted
Oh, of
crawlers,
course.
smaller crawlers, I love those.
Yeah.
It's hard to. find
Well,
those,
I'd
unless
I'd like to see you push the chocolate cream.
I'll lean on them, see what I can do. I'll lean on it.
I eat a half a dozen of it once.
See, this was
Thank
more
you.
of the questions I was expecting.
It's all good. I can talk about it all day long, I love it.
Thank you.
I take you to the kitchen when we're taking stuff off. And it's hot out of the grease and glaze.
Yeah,
I could smash down like 4 honey dip donuts in like half a minute, you
Yeah.
know, it's like, you
Roger.
feel it afterwards, but it's good while it lasts. Hey, thanks a lot for all.
Roger. Thank you. Good luck.
Consideration of the project. And Max, thanks for all your help. You
Yeah,
can,
promise, send a follow-up email.
thanks. Have a great night. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, I'm-
Okay, next up is meeting minutes.
Yeah.
We had two sets of minutes, one from our 1 minute long meeting, and then the other from the June 13th. Was it? Okay. Yeah, I just had a typo that I had noted that I sent to Rachel this afternoon. Anybody else have any other comments on the minutes? All right, I'll move to accept the minutes with as noted.
My second?
All in favor? Aye. All right. So, item 7, comments from planning board members. Any comments other than the election? Okay,
Which election?
the officer election for the chair and vice chair.
See, I didn't get the agenda either. I mean, did you get a printout of the agenda? Or you can?
I asked Matt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the item that keeps getting kicked for every meeting.
I voted we draft Barbara for vice chair.
For vice chair?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do vice chair. You never, ever, ever, ever. go away.
yeah, I'm not,
Unless you like to.
I'm not, all set. Thank you. Maybe next time.
I'm all set.
All right, if nobody else wants to do it, I would be happy to continue as the chair. I'm not gonna nominate myself, though.
I nominate
Yeah.
Brendan for
Second.
Yeah.
as,
Good.
and I can't nominate
Yeah.
myself for vice president. Let's do a group sweep here. What else do we have? This is-
That's it, just it.
It's just 2 spots.
Okay, good. I
So.
want to put in the record, I voted for Brendan for his strong, steady leadership.
I guess we need to have a vote, right?
Yeah.
So, all those in favor? All vote, right? So, all right,
Those opposed? Not.
no one's opposed. All right, vice chair. I'll nominate Barbara as vice chair.
Second.
All those in favor? All right, finally, we have a vice chair. After many years. How many years has it been, Max? The whole time you've been here?
Vice chairs? We haven't had a vice chair?
There's been vice chair, but I don't think there's been a vice chair for the last 2 years.
Not since I've been here.
You have to make it really
Yeah.
obvious to me, you know, for me to get it.
Max, do you want this signed?
Yes, we can wrap that up,
What?
for,
Okay.
Is there anything else?
The mo-
not
Oh,
for
yeah,
tonight.
terrific.
Not for tonight, the only thing is, before people leave, just make sure I get signatures for this. Probably should have gone Eric before he left, but it's fine. The other thing is you do have the main health applications. I assume that is something we want for September 12th. That will be the next meeting. I don't have anything scheduled for that. There's also the 5th Thursday if people want to do a special meeting, but I assume September 12th.
Is this really all the stuff for,
That's everything. In your left hand are all the site maps and the designs of the building. Your right is them
this
going
is,
through.
this
all the
is bizarre,
standards.
though. Come on,
All
man.
the
This is,
standards.
What?
come on.
I have yours, Barbara. I have yours. Just back. But that's. I assume September 12th so that people have a month to go through all this and if someone
Yeah.
wants,
Floor plans in this time?
There-
Floor plans?
there is an interior floor plan. And I assume if I get someone else asking for the planning board in September, maybe hold them off so that this meeting will strictly be this.
Yeah, it's enough. I mean, yeah, the neighbors are definitely gonna have comments.
Yeah.
You know. This will be a long meeting,
All right,
probably one of a few.
so I assume that'll be it for the meeting. People
Yeah.
wanting to adjourn?
Let us adjourn.
All right, sounds good.